Our next guest, 5 times Member of Parliament, diligent parliamentarian, Mr. Asaduddin Owaisi. Shall we, guys? Let's start.
Old Parliament had lot of, life in it. That old Parliament, history as well.
Yeah. The whole not being a bright student, just about getting enough marks and being one of the best students of Parliament. Post-independence India, did your party stand for a separate Islamic state?
No,
No?
not at all.
So that's all you're saying is a figment of the BJP's imagination?
It's all lies. Well, the last day of that cricket match, I was sitting in my home. I had a Parliament to go, but I wanted...
You didn't go? That's
that one... I went to Parliament and I rushed back. Terrorism has become a new religion. And these terrorists do all these acts in the name of a religion. Godse was the first terrorist of independent India. We also want BJP to be defeated or NDA to be defeated, and they shouldn't come back in power in Bihar.
Owaisi Saab, it's a privilege and a pleasure to have you on Unpolitics. You're no stranger to rich introductions, but as what is the format of my show, allow me to ask you to introduce yourself.
Well, I am a fifth-time elected member of Parliament by the people of Hyderabad, and they had given the opportunities to serve as a two-time MLA from a then constituency in the then Andhra Pradesh called Charminar Assembly constituency, and this has been so far the political journey.
That's it's been. Are you being modest because it's been way more prolific than that?
No, I mean, you wanted a political introduction, so I had to say.
Make it personal, make it political.
No, so everything is there. So politically, yeah, I was a member of Assembly from 94 till 2004. Then from 2004 to 2024, the people of Hyderabad have elected me with the blessings of them and with the blessing of Almighty Allah. And I'm also a chairman of a trust which runs education institutes, which was established by my late father in 1984, and which has a medical college, which has successfully running from the last 40 years, which has ensured that not about some 10,000 odd Muslim doctors have come out from this place. Engineering, MBA, MCA college, School of Architecture, physiotherapy, MBA in hospital management. But these were all established by my late father and the late leaders of our party at that time. So these colleges have nothing to do with me personally. It's a trust, and we run it. So far, it has been like this.
Owaisi Saab, you come from rich political legacy. Your father, your grandfather. What shaped your worldview in terms of politics? Because, correct me if I'm wrong, I think you were 9 years old when your father won a municipal election. And from...
No, I was not born when he was elected as a municipal corporator in 1960.
Okay.
Then in 62, he became an MLA, and 69 is my date of birth. So, but yes, you are absolutely right. It's because of my family elders, my father, and all of the people who are nowhere in this world. Some are still alive, and they happened to take a very difficult journey at that time to revive, to start a new party with the new constitution. And so, yeah, those initial years, I'm told, have been very, very difficult for them. A lot of oppression. In fact, my grandfather was imprisoned for nearly 11 months. We hear now that accounts are being seized, properties have been seized. So it happened to us in 1957. So there are some real stories, facts, which I have heard from my late uncles and aunts, and they have gone through a lot of problems. But alhamdulillah, I think so everyone has to go through this rigmarole of life. and they had successfully journeyed this difficult journey. And right now, I'm here in front of you.
Um, do you have any anecdote growing up with your grandfather or your father? Do you remember? Did you think that this was your political legacy to inherit, or you were on your way to becoming a lawyer? How did it all come together?
No, my grandfather. I think so. I was around about 7, 8 years old when he passed away. The memories I have about him was that about he being a good, successful lawyer, and even in his late age, he was a very fit man, and he used to get up around about 4:20, 4:30 in the morning, and then by 5:30 he used to take me and Akbar to a place called Tangbund.
When you were little kids?
Yeah, and sometimes he used to walk on that whole Tangbund is around about one stretch is I think 1.5 kilometers, 3 kilometers, then is walk back or come in a car, depending on how his body feels.
Coming in, but did you inherit that? Do you also wake up really early? What is your
Yeah,
day like?
so of course, if you have to do the first namaz of the day, Fajr, you have to get up early. But he used to get up more early and read
Okay.
Quran. I had seen him reading Quran and very disciplined man. Then I had seen my father working very, very hard uh, for what responsibility the Almighty Allah had bestowed upon him, given it to him. So we had seen a lot of struggle, we have seen a lot of hard work, lot of patience, and a lot of sincerity in what they have done. And the lesson which I have learned is that never give up in life. You have to overcome all difficulties. You have to keep on striving in what you believe is right. And success or no success, your journey should continue.
So your journey from a school in Hyderabad, then to London to do law, was there? Some people have that moment of epiphany that what their calling is, that I have to go back and I have to take over my father's legacy. Did you go to London to become a lawyer? When did this whole transition to a
So
politician
no,
happen?
so for my ref- since since the day I was mature enough to decide what I have to do. So I had taken a decision that yes, I will do law, but doing law was either in India or to go abroad. So fortunately, I could go to England. I was not a very bright student, which can be vouched and corroborated by my school friends. Uh, so I used to just get minimum marks to get into another class or another year in Nizam College. But I had to study when I went abroad, so I had no choice.
So you became because you're one of the most diligent parliamentarians. You've been awarded multiple times. So the whole not being a bright student, just about getting enough marks and being one of the best students of parliament. How did that happen?
So I think so. This is it is wrong to say that if you are a good student, you become a good lawyer or you become a good
No,
doctor.
just the traditional
Yeah,
stereotype way of looking at.
what I had seen my father reading so many newspapers. He used to read this. There was at that time. Unfortunately, it has stopped printing. There's a Urdu digest called Huma, Shabistan, Shama, and various other and Blitz Urdu newspaper, and of course the daily newspapers. My father had a small book collection in his room, and I used to sit and read. But I was not really great in academics, but this reading was
You're clearly
inculcated.
bright.
No, this reading was inculcated by my father, but definitely by my late grandmother. So we studied in English medium school. The reason I could speak a little bit good Urdu, not completely good Urdu, is because of my grandmother who used to make me and Akbar sit and read the Urdu newspapers. So, of course, when you become a member of assembly or a parliament, you have to know the rules and procedures. So for that, you get a book which is given to all MLAs and MPs. You have to read that. You look at your seniors and you learn from them. So that's it. So it's. I think the
Are
end of
your
the
other
day.
parliamentarians as well equipped with the rules as you?
Well, you see, if you join this, if you become a member of parliament, then of course, it's your duty bound to know the rules and procedure. Because end of the day, why do you come to the parliament or the assembly is to raise the issues concerning people, particularly the people of your constituency. And one has to know, and one will definitely learn. You see, when not we might not learn it in the first 6 months, but definitely you
You're
come
being
to
quite
know.
gracious.
Yeah.
But,
No, no.
for the others.
Yeah, no, but
it's-
definitely you learn. So,
Okay.
so I had the opportunity of having seen uh, Mr. Somnath Chatterjee as the speaker.
Did
My
you
fir-
admire him?
Oh
His way of
yes,
working?
great speaker. I
Who did you
doubt.
admire? Who are the people you looked at
No,
and
no,
said,
but I doubt I will ever see such kind of independent speaker in my political life.
Somnath
Because
Chatterjee?
Somnath Chatterjee, because he happened to be what 7, 8 time members of parliament, and he was a very good lawyer, a barrister from some I think Gray's Inn, and fiercely independent. He really believed in the independence of legislature, and he never tolerated any sort of interference either from the executive side or from judiciary side.
In the current lot?
So I don't know.
Who do you think is it? Because I'll tell you why.
No, no,
Most
what
people
do you
we
mean
speak
current
with-
lot?
I'll tell you what. So most parliamentarians that I've spoken with, if you tell them to name their top three best orators in parliament, you come in the top three. Most. And strangely, it also comes in from the treasury benches. And so I'm asking you, who's
So
considered
you're saying in terms of orator?
in terms of orator, in terms of discipline, who do you look at and say that?
No, these are two different
Okay,
things.
tell me orators. Who are the best speeches you think in parliament?
So-
Somebody who's well researched.
So when this live telecast happened of the parliament proceedings, so people like Indrajit Gupta, people, of course, my father was there, he was a very great orator. Then, Indrajit Gupta, even Somnath Chatterjee, he, during the UPA rule, because that was when the whole live proceeding started. But when you go to library and read the speeches which were made by the late parliamentarians, I don't remember this particular name. This honorable MP who came from Maharashtra. Even if you read his speeches now, they are so inspiring, and he used to work so hard on those speeches. I'm sorry I don't remember his name, but very difficult to say, because if you honestly speaking, if you see the standard of speeches in parliament,
debate and
it has a debate.
fallen.
It has fallen down.
I think
It has
that's
fallen down because that I say because if you go and read the speeches that were made by then prime ministers, then home ministers, from the opposition leaders, they were great. I mean, right now, I don't think so. You can really compare, including
Fair.
myself, with those great parliamentarians.
Do
So
you think today there is, when you are sitting in parliament, because you have 82% attendance the last parliament session, so you hear people in parliament. Who do you think right now, could be both treasury benches or the other side, are at least well researched and they make a good point?
I think so. See, one must really understand that the time which you get in a parliament is based on your party strength.
Yes, yeah.
Right? Now, you cannot compare a member of parliament who belongs to a party which has a single MP or 2 MP or 3 MP because their time is very, very limited.
But you could use it wisely.
Yes. Unfortunately, it is the bigger parties who get maximum time. So if you get 30 minutes. Now, in 30 minutes, you can basically, really ask pointed questions. You can expose the government. You can even, with your words, you can slaughter them.
Yeah.
In a rhetorically, I'm saying. But for a smaller parties like me, we get only 7-8 minutes.
But you make such an impact.
Yes, but that is where a lot of input, lot of hard work, lot of research, lot of people.
How much time do you spend in,
No,
just
so-
putting your speech together?
So yeah, 3, 4 hours at least for 6, 7 minutes.
You still didn't answer my question on who do you think is good
No,
nowadays?
I'm not saying it because my ego doesn't allow me to say that, but I'm honestly saying that you have to differentiate between a leader who belongs to a smaller party and a leader who has 30 minutes.
Who speaks best from the treasury benches?
I don't know. For me, a speech should be impactful. Should be. It has should have a lot of important points for the treasury bench or supporting government. But if you get 30 minutes and you drag and you drag and you drag, so you do. There's not much great.
So no one right now.
No. But I happened to hear Sushma Swaraj in 2009. She was a great orator.
True.
Late
True.
Sushma Swaraj. Um, and of
Let,
course,
let me ask you something. Do you think Rahul Gandhi's speeches could be better written?
I don't want to speak for any political leader, but I hope he comes to your podcast.
so.
Never know. Never know.
But you don't want to comment.
How-
Okay,
how
tell me
do-
something. In Operation Sindoor, was Rahul Gandhi's speech better or Priyanka Gandhi's speech better?
why do you want to put me in spot?
Oh, that's my job. You can say you don't
I
want
know,
to
but
answer it.
it's difficult for me to say who's better. Who's better.
Is Priyanka Gandhi a good
No,
orator?
but Mr. Rahul Gandhi has been a 5-time member of parliament, and he has been more exposed and more experienced parliamentarian now. So end of the day, it is the impact of the speech is one when people start believing you, and people start believing you, and they say, okay, yeah, these are facts, this is the truth. They might disagree with you politically, but deep down they know that okay, this is what one is saying is true. And then again, if you speak in Hindi or Urdu, the reach is more
True.
because if you speak in English, then you're speaking to
A very select
an
elite
English
audience.
audience, which is more in the southern part and urban areas. So that also you have to keep in mind. So one cannot say, oh, this has been a great speech. So
Is
you
that like a jibe at Rahul Gandhi because his last speech was in English?
No, I'm not at all. I'm not at all making any comment on his
Okay.
speech or his sister's speech.
Fair point.
So everyone, of course, he's the LOP. So he have to. There's a more responsibility on him. And moreover, in such debates, it is before the Prime Minister speaks, the LOP speaks. So he has more responsibility in putting forward the opposition point of view.
Let me just go back. Do you think because your political outfit of what you inherited, it's something that is
It's a political party.
yeah, political party,
Yeah.
but when you inherited, and especially during elections, something that constantly comes back is the legacy of your party. You've had in 2024, you've had Devendra Fadnavis who spoke about the Razakars. You've many times,
No, but let me correct you and Mr. Fadnavis. So Fadnavis you cannot correct because when it comes to Muslim issues, is blinded by hatred. This political party has no connection whatsoever with Razakars.
you've said that before.
So
Yeah.
Razakars, who were Razakars, they went to Pakistan. This party was defunct. Completely.
You've
It
said
was not
that.
in a political party. And if you ask them the name also of that, at that point of time, what was the name of the party, they'll not able to tell you. It was not this name.
MIM.
No, it was
No,
not. It was
okay.
a different name. So these people, they don't do their own research. So anyway, so this party the name was changed. We gave a new constitution to the party. And secondly, when my grandfather took it up with the then leaders of the MIM party, they said, we'll seriously abide by the Indian constitution. Then this party was registered in Election Commission of India. And then after doing everything, he was sent to prison for 11 months. His accounts were seized. The water was stopped. So and it's a completely different thing. But that is what it is. People don't read properly, and
So,
then
Owaisi Saab, that whole thing of you're saying it's untrue, where and because there is a narrative that after independence with the Nizam, your
so
political
there is a history of Hyderabad state.
exactly
There was a
That you wanted an Islamic
yes,
state.
It was the biggest princely state,
right.
headed by the last Nizam, Mir Usman Ali Khan Bahadur. There was a standstill agreement, which Walter Monckton and K.M. Munshi were very much instrumental. Then we had Operation Polo. And to know about Operation Polo, one must go to the Nehru Library and read Pandit Sundarlal report, which said that nearly 45 or 50,000 Muslims were slaughtered in the Hyderabad state. Now, this report was, it became an issue during Mrs. Indira Gandhi's time. She came to the parliament and said, we will not release this report. It's very sensitive. Now this report is out. I mean, it is there in Nehru Central Library, and my great friend and the person who I admire, Mr. Late Nurani, printed this whole report about Operation Polo, which we call in local parlance as police action. It happened. So then Hyderabad state became part of Hyderabad state. The then government made Nehru and Sardar Patel made Mir Usman Ali Khan Raj Parmukh. Then on the basis of on the Fazil Ali Commission, the then Hyderabad state, parts of it went to Karnataka, parts of it went to Maharashtra, and then Hyderabad state was created. Then Andhra state was created. So yes, there is a history behind Hyderabad state, but to
So is it an uncomfortable truth, or it is what it was then?
no,
Your
it is what
party's
it is.
allegiance with the
No,
Nizam
no,
and wanting.
No, it was what it is. But you see, my grandfather never met the Nizam. Because at that time, the tradition was if you're meeting the Nizam, you have to give him an Ashrafi in a gold coin. My grandfather refused. He said, no, I cannot do that. I will never do that. Why should I give a gold coin to meet His Excellency Mir
So
Usman Ali
in
Khan?
post-independence India, did your party stand for a separate Islamic state?
No,
No?
not at all.
So that's all you're saying is a figment of the BJP's
It's
imagination.
all lies. It's all lies. Show us a statement from 1957 onwards. Please show us when this party was revived, the constitution was changed. There is no such statement as such at all. I mean, you want to create a boogie, or you want to create a falsehood, you want to create a hatred for Hyderabad, for Hyderabad history. That is your problem. But the fact is this: never such statement was made.
Why are you such a favorite of Devendra Fadnavis?
Who?
Of the
No, I'm favorite of many. I'm favorite of my wife also. You don't know. So I cannot stop anyone. Definitely I'm happy. I'm the favorite of my wife and my children. But I don't know why Devendra Fadnavis. He likes me so much. Good luck to him. Maybe I don't know what. Maybe something in me inspires him. I don't know. Which other leaders are not able to inspire him.
I'm going to go back to your schooling days, and there is so many people have told me about, and you've said it also many times, how much you wanted to be a cricketer. Did you record a better score than a Venkateshwara Prasad?
Yeah,
Is it-
there is.
It's documented.
No, there is a.
As a fast bowler.
No, there is a Deccan Chronicle report. I can pass it on to you. In fact, yesterday one of my old friends had sent it to me. So basically, we were Usmania University was playing against Bangalore. It was not Bangalore University at that time. It was the South Zone final, and then so I happened to play on the last match, the final match, and then from Usmania University I got 6 wickets, but we lost the match, and Venkatesh Prasad didn't get any wickets. So
Okay.
then we went to Jaipur. It was known as Rohinton Baria. The first match we played against, I think so, Bombay University, and they had some 2-3 Ranji players. The wicket was wet, and despite me arguing with my good friend D. Suresh, who's an IS officer in Haryana, and my dear friend Masood Ahmad, these are all batters. D. Suresh was one of the better batsmen I've ever seen, including Masood and Affan. But being, they are very selfish. A batsman, they just want to bat. And I was telling him, look, the wicket is wet. And it's February in Jaipur. The ball will swing, the wicket is wet. But no, we'll do it. So we couldn't score much against the Bombay at University. In that match also, I got on about some 4 wickets, 4 or 5. I selected for South Zone Vizzy Trophy. Again,
Remember
I
all of
got
that.
four or five wickets, and that was the end of my cricketing journey because
Did you have a rivalry with Venkateshwar
no,
Prasad?
no, no. See
Nothing
that
like
no,
that.
no. That was the only match
You played.
I played against
Okay.
him. He was representing his university.
Why didn't you take cricket seriously if you were this good?
No, but
Pursue it as a career.
uh, I started playing cricket very late. Unlike
Ah,
people
yeah,
who
yeah.
start from under 14, under 13. So I started playing from, I think so, from my 11th, 12th, intermediate college. But then again, I got admission in a university. I wanted to go to London. So anyway, I did
But you're
play.
still very passionate about cricket.
Yeah, of course, I still like to watch that game. One of the sports which I can watch. And then yeah, when you go abroad, there are a lot of other responsibilities. You have to work, you have to study, and so
Do you, because you were so vocal on, every time there is a match that India wins, especially when Mohammad Siraj is bowling, in the test at the Oval, do you see yourself in a young Mohammad Siraj?
no, no,
No?
no, not at
There's
all.
nothing like
See,
that.
I was too. Fortunately, I had a very privileged, as compared to Siraj, upbringing, everything. See, when I see Siraj, I feel
Your heart's full.
very happy, and his journey in life
That's true. That's
was
tremendous. It's
extremely tough. And
one of the best
and I
scripted
feel
Indian
that
stories.
one thing I must say that Siraj should have gone. Siraj should have got this credit much before. Man who played all the tests in Australia and bowling on those strong grounds of Australia, bowling so many overs in Australia, which no other bowler could have lasted. And then again, playing at a stretch all these 5 test matches, playing test matches in India. So the recognition Siraj is getting now, he should have got it much before. But
But that's sports.
yeah, no, but in terms of a bowler, toiling day in, day out, and bowling those overs, 23 overs, 25 overs in innings, it takes a lot of, you have to be extremely fit, which Siraj is. And the good thing about him is that he has not forgotten his old friends. When I speak to people and ask him, who are his friends? They say, "No, he has not changed his friends. He has not, you know, started meeting all these elite crowds of Hyderabad, which are of good, good for no purpose. But he's still grounded.
Have you changed your friends?
No, not at all. No, I
Who you
mean,
grew up with?
I think you come from Haryana. You can ask D.
Yeah,
Suresh,
Yeah.
and you can also ask him what Mr. G means. We call him Mr. G.
Okay.
So no, we have not. So of course you make new friends, but
Of course.
your school friends remain school friends throughout your life.
You've kept them.
Yeah, but we don't meet. But whenever we meet them,
What do they call you? What's your? I'm
no,
sure they call you something. They
Asad
can't call
only.
you.
No,
they
no,
call Asad.
they call me Asad. They call me Asad. I have no issues, and I'm happy. Recently, I met one of my old school friend who's a pilot. He met me. I think so. I met him after years on Hyderabad airport, and then I told him, "Why don't you come over to my home?" So I don't know. He told me I'm coming sometime. He came to my home and. I mean, that that pilot who is a pilot, that didn't change. He was like this in his when he was in school. He came on a 850cc motorbike, and I said, what's happening? He said, look, I go on rallies.
But you also ride.
Yeah, right, but not this kind of thing. This guy he has gone to Ladakh. So you
Okay.
meet a lot of your
But
school
you're a
friends.
great host.
Yeah, I mean, of course, everyone in Hyderabad is a good host.
No, but it's you're legendary with
No, 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 no.
okay, I have spoken to so many people and they just say that even if there are two people, the table is so full when Owaisi Saab's hosting
no,
you.
no, no. So I think so. This is I don't know. I don't know.
And he'll take you
it's
to
an-
the
it's
car and
unwanted
drop you.
compliment, but that is what everyone is in Hyderabad like that. If you are invited to any home, every Hyderabadi, irrespective of what religion he belongs to, will treat his guests very properly. Ensure that he's taken care of, he or she who is invited. That is what Hyderabad culture is. That Hyderabad stands out as compared to other cities.
Let me ask you a question which strangely the right-wing audience of this show really loves, which is food choices. Hyderabadi biryani or Lucknowi biryani?
You see, if you one if you're a student, I mean, wherever, whichever you leave your home state and you go and study other place. So food becomes secondary for you. You know, it
Yes.
doesn't. Your choices are very limited. So you're more focused towards your academic studies. So for me, it's the same thing. What I learned through hard way in my time in London was that food doesn't matter. You know, whatever is given to you is
Or what
taken.
do you prefer? Would you prefer a Hyderabadi biryani or a Lucknowi
No, it
biryani?
doesn't matter. You know, alhamdulillah, if I can get,
You just want food on the table.
yeah, whatever it is there, it's fine
Right.
with me. So, and moreover, if you're a politician, you know, you're traveling around, so you know, as long as the food is safe, healthy, hygienic, is good, have it. That's it. This is my motto. You cannot, array, it should have been this and that. I don't think so. I'm fine with any food.
Choice तो होना चाहिए.
No, no, it's just
कोई
nothing
नहीं
much.
है.
Nothing much.
Nothing like that.
Nothing like that. Nothing like that. Whatever is there, is as long as it's hygienic, it's good.
You know, I'm going to take you back. You talk about your time in London. How difficult was it for you because you're a devout practicing Muslim for a young boy coming in from where you were coming in from to adjust? Was it different? Was it culturally very difficult to adapt? Were you accepted? Did you make friends? Because there is, in
You know,
any case, a sense of alienation because
I
of
went
it.
with with this aim that I must come back or I must complete my law degree and do my bar over there. That was the only thing in my mind.
Did you have a tough time culturally?
I don't know, no, not. I don't know why people use this word culturally. If it's a new place, you have to learn new things. You know, fish and chips is not available in Hyderabad. You know, you don't get to see. You know, at that time in '89, you know, if you go to Selfridges on Oxford Street or Harrods, or so these are some new things. But cultural shock, no. Why? Why should there be cultural shock?
Because you, like I said, you were a practicing devout Muslim.
Yeah,
You
but
dressed a
that
certain way.
doesn't,
You behaved in a certain.
no, that didn't stop me from practicing my religion
It
over
didn't
there.
create a divide. You made your friends. There wasn't
Yeah, yeah,
any
I made a lot of my friends who are still my friends. You
come
know,
from that.
practicing a religion doesn't stops you, and in fact, you just have to pray what 2 or 3 times of that time when you're in your college. You go back home, you do it. So for me, religion is part of my life, but that is not a it's like it's a normal thing. You have to do it. Simple as that.
That's how.
And
Well, that's great because that's how you see it. That's not how most people see it.
no,
For
no, I
them,
don't.
they'll look at it as a, you know.
No, no. Anyway, that is their choice. But for me, it was definitely a new place, and it was definitely you know, tough. I wouldn't say easy, but looking back, I think so. It was a great journey.
You know, coming back to cricket, you've made your stand very clear on India playing Pakistan. You know, there is the Asia Cup coming in. What's your view on that?
No, I said it in Parliament during the Operation Sindoor
Yeah.
debate that when the Prime Minister himself had said many times that water and blood cannot flow, talks and terrorism cannot go together. And rightfully after Operation Sindoor, this government have stopped issuing visas. They have stopped trade, directly, indirect trade. We have this government has suspended rightfully uh, the Indus Water Treaty. We have stopped 80% of, according to the treaty, 80% of water belongs to Pakistan. We have kept it in abeyance. When all such measures have been taken, how can you jump and play a cricket match? You see, when people say, "Oh, what when you play other sports?" So cricket is not a sport in India.
Yes.
You know, it's football, hockey, volleyball, kabaddi. These are, I'm sorry to use their sport, but here it's like an obsession.
Yeah, you're right.
You know, everything comes to a standstill. And like, for example, the last day of that cricket match, I was sitting in my home. I had a parliament to go, but I wanted.
You didn't go.
No,
That's
no,
that
no,
one.
I went to parliament and I rushed back. So
Okay.
when fortunately the parliament was not working, so I rushed back.
Okay.
And I had put my cell phone on silent, and I was watching. Okay, now what's going to happen? You see, so
Yeah.
cricket is like that, and then there's so much of money in cricket which is not there in other sports. So I don't know. I'm surprised and shocked that we are playing a cricket match in Dubai with Pakistan. When, anyways, I will not watch it
You
because
won't watch it.
I'll not watch it.
Why wouldn't? Because of Operation
Yeah,
Sindoor
because
and the way
not
we
Operation
stand.
Sindoor, but because of that shocking incident of Pahalgam. It is too horrific that someone can be shot in front of their small children, wives, mothers, whatever. It's like you're watching. Your wife is watching her husband being shot in his head. That is very painful. We unfortunately in our country we forget the victims. That is what it
That's
is.
true.
When people die either in natural disaster or a bomb blast, you tend to forget. But we, of course, everyone will have to carry on life, but we also forget that 21 civilians lost in Pakistan shelling.
Yeah.
We lost many things. So suddenly it's like, whoa. Then why do we have? Why are we not issuing visas? Why have we called back our diplomats? We have a very minimal presence in now Islamabad. We have sent back many of these Pakistani officers who are indulging in some spying or anti-national activities. We have suspended indirect trade. Wagah border is closed. So how does it make? I don't know. To me, it doesn't make sense.
So Mr. Rasaduddin Owaisi is going to boycott the
No,
India-Pakistan
I'll
match.
not watch it. I don't use and boycott and give any respect to Pakistan. I will not watch it.
Why do you think we are going ahead with this match?
I
What do you
don't
think?
know. I don't
What,
know.
what
I
are our
don't know. I don't
compulsions?
know. This is for the uh, BCCI to answer. This is for the office bearers of BCCI to answer. This is for the government of India to answer. Why have they given permission? It is for them to answer. Because if you can, if you are playing and you say it's a bilateral, the World Bank Treaty is also bilateral. Many of these pharmaceutical companies send their products to Dubai. From Dubai, it goes to Pakistan. They're also losing on it. You have Jalandhar is the center for ready-made garments. They are losing on it.
So it doesn't make sense.
I don't know. I don't know why. But this is my personal decision. I don't want to watch that match. Simple as that.
You've where this government is concerned, where narratives are concerned, where perception is concerned, from somebody who was the favorite whipping boy of this government, you turned into, at some point of time called the Team B of the BJP, or the poster boy now, where you're sometimes called Pakistan ka Dula, and then when you went on to this delegation, suddenly appropriated by most right-wingers as well.
Who cares?
You don't care.
I don't care.
And that make a difference to you.
Doesn't make difference to me. So what? They can. And I see. I don't need a certificate from someone, anyone from the BJP side or from the so-called secular parties. Who cares? What I feel is right, what my party has decided, we'll do it. I cannot unnecessarily waste my life, these precious years of my life on thinking what they will think and what they will think or who will get upset. Who cares? As long as my conscience is clear, as long as my party has taken a decision, we'll abide by it. So I think so that has been what I have done in my life. And I don't care about people talk about me.
You were a part of the delegations, Owaisi Saab. Do you think the delegations that you were the one which went to Bahrain, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, and multiple ones, were they fruitful? Let me ask that question, because it was a topic of conversation in Parliament as well.
This question has been asked by people who generally feel that this whole delegation thing was a drama and it didn't serve.
What do you feel?
See, diplomacy is not a day's work. We are all members of parliament. We are not MEA. I'm not a joint secretary or a foreign secretary or in charge of that Gulf region. Or neither of us were ministers. We were members of parliament, and we went there to present the view of our country. We didn't go there as part of a BJP delegation. We went there as a part of a delegation which
Was
was
your delegation a success? Would you say you came
now
back?
I know, see, success in diplomacy is very subjective. Now, what defines success? Now, some would say no, but when we went to Bahrain, you see, example, now Bahrain is now a non-permanent member of Security
Yeah.
Council. So, as a country, we would require their help in bringing Pakistan in FATF, which in 2018 they helped us,
But
right?
subsequently,
Bahrain has a fifth fleet, American fifth fleet over there, and Bahrain has been a victim of some internal problems they had, and we have historical relationship with Bahrain. You have what 3.5 lakh Indians working over there. If we went to Kuwait, again nearly million Indians work over there, and these are all GCC countries: Bahrain, Kuwait, and Saudi Arabia, which have great influence over Pakistan. And then we went to we met in Bahrain. We met the lower house speaker who studied in Bengaluru.
were you successfully able to deliver India's message?
I think so. All of us,
Yeah.
which was headed by Jay Panda, who did a very good job, and all of us did present, our view about terrorism being perpetrated by Pakistan in India.
So it should have been done. These delegations should have been sent, and you're of the
Yeah, this
opinion that
delegation, I think so.
they met their
This
target.
delegation should have also gone to Bangladesh and Nepal as well, which unfortunately we didn't went. We should have also gone to Iran and Turkey as well. Turkey also. In fact, when I was selected, initially this group was supposed to go to Europe, Germany, and
Right.
Great Britain, but I think it was changed. So I spoke to Kiran Rijiju and I said, why don't you also send us to Turkey? He said, no, this is not, and he was right. He said, this has been decided, it's too late. But I think with this, we should have also gone to Bangladesh, we should have also gone to Nepal. Why not? Why not? So for example, we went to Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Can you believe that Minister of State Foreign Affairs, Mr. Adil Jubair, spoke to this delegation? We had, differing views for nearly 2 hours. 2 hours. And when I hear people saying, what was the purpose? An MOS of who was earlier of the foreign minister of Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. He sat with us, with his team, and spoke to his delegation for 2 hours.
But
No,
there was a difference of opinion.
We didn't
Yeah.
talk about how weather is hot in Riyadh. We didn't talk
Fair
about
point.
how weather is in India. But we talked about what Pakistan is doing. They had their own view.
Fair point.
They had their own questions, and we were very much instrumental in exposing this false propaganda of Pakistan that Pakistan is an Islamic country and India is a Hindu country. Despite BJP wanting India to make a Hindu country, we had told them,
Do you
no,
think-
this
do
is
you-
not this is not the case, because our constitution celebrates all the religion. We told them this is our constitution. We represent. You had three BJP members. I said, we might be different ideology, but India's constitution is a supreme document, and Pakistan cannot take this claim of, oh, we are the Muslim country. But you have what 16 crore Muslims living in India. Yes, when they asked us what about the issues you are facing, I said, I will not sit here and say something different. The world has become very, very small place because of all these videos, news, and everything comes out. But end of the day, we are here to tell you, to request you, to ensure that at least tell Pakistan that stop this terrorism, close down their terror camps.
Right.
If Kingdom of Saudi Arabia has given them 3 billion loan, now they intend to give another
Yeah.
$7-8 billion loan. So it's okay. And then Riyadh is a place where I think so. They have this Islamic country counter-terrorism organization. 40 Muslim countries are part of it. I said, you are hosting this place. More responsibility on you. We reminded them how in 2001 Al Qaeda bombed Riyadh. The Houthis are sending missiles to Aramco. So,
So
and then
diplomacy is a slow walk. You've got to constantly.
no, slow or no work is different now. That's a different question. But we went to Algeria. The Algerians were so warm to us
Okay.
because that NFL office was opened in New Delhi in 1950. Nehru stood up in General Assembly and said self-determination should be given to Algerians. They have great respect for India. And they lost 50,000 Algerians with what they call as Black Decade from 1990 to 2000. And we require Algerian support also
So it was
in Pakistan FATF. So now, if someone says, "Oh, this is not successful," well, I cannot change their mind. We didn't went, and it was all. And someone said, "Oh, ये तो फिर रहे हैं."
Owaisi Saab.
These are all night flights. There's no time. You land, and then you're given this. पढ़ लीजिए, read it, and you go inside.
Fair point.
See, we are politicians. We are not MEA staff. Maybe once I had foreign secretary. He said, "I just landed from this country and I'm entering. I'm a member of the standing committee on external affairs." So it was hard work.
No, I'm sure it was hard work. I want to ask you something because you talk about the constitution of the country. You talk about, especially in context of the message that you took to the other countries on your delegation. The question I want to ask you, Owaisi Saab, is that legally, of course, we are not. But do you think we are moving towards being a Hindu Rashtra
The
otherwise?
BJP, that is the innermost desire of RSS and BJP to make this country a theocratic country. What is Hindu Rashtra? Where is Hindu Rashtra mentioned in the Constitution of India?
So are we going towards... Is that the path we are walking?
That is their utmost desire. That is their main objective. But as long as the constitution that was given by Baba Sahib Ambedkar, it is going to be difficult for them. But they keep on uttering this word, Hindu Rashtra. How do you make Hindu Rashtra? Then what about right to equality? What about freedom of religion? What about Article 29, Article 30, Article 26? How do you do it? But they're hell-bent on doing it, and they have created a successful ecosystem wherein they are winning elections.
What do you make of the Home Minister saying there's nothing called Hindu terror? Especially after Malegaon, that's been
You
established.
have to remember that statement which Mr. Amit Shah made. When was it made? And on 31st of July, a judgment came on the Malegaon 2008 blast. I'm not saying it's a coincidence, but who killed Mahatma Gandhi? Who killed Indira Gandhi? Who killed Rajiv Gandhi? Who's killing the police in the jungles of Chhattisgarh or Jharkhand or then Andhra Pradesh? Who killed the Sikhs in the streets of Delhi? Now it is completely wrong on his part to say that this is not the religion. Well, terrorism has become a new religion, and these terrorists do all these acts in the name of a religion. But these are all facts. How can one run away from it? Whether anyone does it from this religion or that religion does not permit you to do it in their name. But to stand up and say this in the parliament, maybe he has forgotten who killed Mahatma Gandhi. He was the first terrorist. Godse was the first terrorist of independent India.
There's an election that is coming in, Mr. Owaisi. You did fairly well the last time in that election, which many would suggest toppled a possible government formation of the Mahagathbandhan in the state of Bihar. I want to ask you not to align with the India parties or the Gathbandhan parties or with anyone. Is it by choice that you wish not to align with them?
First of all, we didn't topple a government.
No, not topple. It didn't happen because they said
No.
they just couldn't come
Now
together.
I'm again telling you, and people who make this
Team B of the BJP claim.
who make this false accusation. We contested 19 assembly seats as part of an alliance with Mr. Kushwaha.
Right.
We happened to win 5 seats. 9 seats were won by the India alliance, by the RJD plus alliance. The remaining 6 were won by the NDA alliance. Now, if you take those 9 seats which the RJD alliance had won and looked at the votes which MIM had got, they would have won still. The 6 seats which the NDA alliance had won, the
You've said
votes,
this before. Yeah.
yeah, it
Doesn't
make
make
a difference.
sense.
Now, how is it that when you are saying that so when people make the allegation, why are you contesting?
Or being team
No,
B
why are
of
you
the
contesting?
BJP.
I will contest wherever I want. This is what democracy.
You've said that before.
Yeah, but no, unfortunately, I have to keep on reiterating it so that some cell in their brain will open up and accept the truth. There
Are
is
you looking to ally with anyone in
no
Bihar
the-
or
in-
Bengal?
in this election, the forthcoming election, our state president, Mr. Akhtarul Iman, who's MLA, has written a letter to the RJD leadership, to Mr. Lalu Prasad Yadav. He had met some of the senior leaders also that have an alliance with us. We also want BJP to be defeated or NDA to be defeated, and they shouldn't come back in power in Bihar. Now it is up to them to react. And let me remind you that when the India alliance they say that what happened in Maharashtra was a murder of democracy. What happened in Karnataka and Madhya Pradesh, they say it's a murder of democracy. Then why did you take away my 4 MLAs? What was that? A Gandhian act, is it? Now, when it happens to you, it is murder of democracy. But when you take away with the same method which BJP has done in Maharashtra, you call it, what do you call it? A sacred act? No, you cannot have these two, this hypocrisy should end. Now, you do it, it is great. When other does it, you say, oh, this is end of democracy. How can that be possible?
Would you look at an alliance in Bengal as well?
No,
It's coming.
No, Bengal is still
Too far
far
out.
away. I mean, right now, the immediate election would be Bihar, and especially in the light of SIR. I think so. It's going to be a huge, turbulent time. People are not realizing this SIR would be a great loss to the poor people of Bihar, irrespective of which religion or caste they belong to. And in my opinion, this provisional list which has come out, which has
The
said,
first draft.
which says that okay, some 60 odd lakhs have been gone. Some have died. Okay, fine, I understand that. And then secondly, they say that people have shifted. Thirdly, they say that double entry. Now the provisional
They're naming
list.
Tejasvi Yadav as one of them.
No,
2 epic numbers.
no, that is for him to answer which one
Fair
is.
point, yeah. Okay.
Now, in the provisional voter list, which is there will be more deletion of voters, I'm telling you. Why? Because 25th July was the last date of submitting of forms. 10, 12 days before, the ECI said, we are just taking forms, don't give us documents. Now, tomorrow, the ECI can say that people only gave us forms, they didn't give us documents, that's why the name is deleted.
No, fair point.
So now, and this provisional list, it doesn't, if I read it, it doesn't tells me which voter has given his document, which voter has not
Fair
given
point.
document. That is why I feel that we are in for a bad time. I hope when it comes in Supreme Court, something would be done. Otherwise, denying people the right to vote.
Supreme Court really hasn't done anything yet. They're just hearing the matter.
They have said those 3 documents. Then
Yeah, but-
last hearing they said Epic card and Aadhaar should be allowed. But where is the list of double entry? The ECI should give, okay, these are the names of double entry.
Publish the names, make it
Publish,
public.
make it, these are the names of people who have not
Right.
given documents. Then we can go and tell them, see, when ECI is giving a press note today, oh, these state parties, national parties, no one is giving objection. How would I give objection when I don't know how many have given documents? How will I give an objection when I don't know how many have really
Fair
died?
point.
Or
OBC
double
sir,
entry.
what do you make of the threat? Right now, it is an empty threat, but what do you make of the threat of the opposition saying that they will boycott the Bihar elections?
Don't believe in all these things. These are all
Jumlas.
not Jumla. Jumla belongs to BJP. These are all empty rhetorical statements, But these are all statements which will never materialize.
You don't agree? You don't think they should boycott the election?
Boycott election. Let them do it then. We'll see. I will definitely contest.
You will
Yeah, I
contest.
will
Yeah.
contest because for me, contesting elections is very important to register my voice to ensure that
Fair
this is the
point.
support I have, I don't have. But to say we'll not fight, don't fight. Say it openly.
I'm going to take the last 5 minutes of your time, sir, and then I'm going to let you go. The question I want to ask you is when you took oath as an MP in 2024, you ended with the Jai Palestine. Was it something you thought about or you did it impromptu? Because
No, no,
it was criticized.
I have said it. It is there on record. And to inform you, I have written a letter to the Honorable Prime Minister yesterday asking him that India uh, should adopt what other countries are doing in dropping aid from aircraft in Gaza. India should condemn the genocide which the Israeli government is doing on Palestinians in Gaza and West Bank. And I've also written in that letter requesting and demanding this government that they must protect Masjid Aqsa, which is the third holiest place for the Muslim voice for Muslims. And I hope that the Prime Minister will respond because you cannot see you and me. Unfortunately or fortunately, we didn't see the genocide of Jews done by Hitler. But the world is watching now the genocide, which is being live telecasted. You know, everything in Gaza has been finished. You know, those visuals of some British channels who could
Fair point.
see
Yeah.
from the aircraft. You have what? 20,000 children dead.
True.
You have 2,000 odd United
Starving.
Nations employees being shot to death. You have evidence of doctors who worked in Gaza saying that small children were used as target practices. You have 50,000 women right now pregnant with no medical facilities over there. I hope that my country's prime minister will rise up to the occasion. He has to be on the right side of the history. India has always opposed oppression. India has always stood with the weakest. That has been the great tradition of our country since independence.
So
And if at this point of time,
right.
if the world wants to act as blind and deaf, history will not forget us. You know, there is a live genocide going on in Gaza, which has to be stopped. And our government has enough influence over this Israeli government.
To be
And,
able
and,
to.
and, and we must send aid to them. You know, this cannot be on.
So Jai Palestine was thought of.
That is to remind that India always stood with Palestine, whether it was Gandhi or Nehru. Of
You
course,
talk about the Jews and you talk about, the atmosphere right now in Palestine, but you did compare Indian Muslims to Jews. Do you think that was a little far fetched?
no. If your Dharam Sansads, which have given permission, and they ask for open killing and rape of Muslim women, threatening. In fact, they even threatened a union minister. And then you have this mob lynching by these so-called protectors of cow, who are supported by the government. In fact, in the state of Haryana, they are given armed licenses. And who can forget the burning of those two boys of
That's still not
Rajasthan?
genocide like
No, you see,
Holocaust times during the
you see,
of the Jews.
Do you want actual genocide to happen, or do you want to remind them this is how genocide happens?
That-
You have genocide experts who has told us that what are the stages of genocide. Genocide, Hitler didn't just send. You know, it started with saying, oh, you live in different areas. It started with telling them to wear armbands. It started them.
So you're saying we're on that path.
Never know. But according to many genocide experts, which are 3-4 steps are there. If the government of the day does not put an end to all these mob lynching, all these targeted killings, and now what is happening in Maharashtra is 7 West Bengal Muslims were picked up from Bhiwandi, and thrown inside Bangladesh area just because they happen to speak Bengali. How can you do that? And what right has the police got? There is a system in place. If you find anyone a foreign national, you have to inform the BSF SP. He in turn informs the 3 officers in MHA. They take a decision, then he's sent to a foreigners tribunal. Who are you? You are just picking up anyone who's speaking Bengali. You have made a detention center in Gurugram. What is that? Just because they happen to be Muslims and they speak Bengali language. There are so many incidents which have happened. So this has to end. If India has to become a Vishwa Guru, which everyone wants,
Okay.
you cannot become a Vishwa Guru by targeting the minorities of this country.
I'm going to ask you 3 quick questions. How does Asaduddin Owaisi unwind? I'm sure you have fun. You play cricket. Do you watch films? Do you read a book?
No, I don't. I'm sorry, but I don't understand this word unwind. What is that one?
What do you do which is not which is not religious in nature, which is not academic in
How
nature?
do
you watch films?
No. I'm sorry, but I don't understand this. Many people are.
I'm sure.
How do you chill out? What unwind? What is it? I mean, you do your work. You're normal.
Acha, do you watch films?
No, why should I watch?
You don't. Everyone watches films. sir.
No. There was a point. There was some point of time in my life which I used to watch. I don't watch now.
Does your family find you boring then? You don't watch films.
No,
you don't watch
not at all.
OTT.
Not
nothing.
at all. Not at all.
Music you listen to?
Why should I listen to music? See, these are parameters which will appeal to you. It doesn't appeal to me. What is it to unwind? The work I'm doing for the people.
Do you travel? Do you take holidays?
No, of course I know.
Do you go for a holiday with your family?
No, I spend as much time I spend with my family.
Do they find you boring?
No, not at all. They find me the most interesting father.
Or that's what they tell you?
No, not at all. They find me, most interesting. They're happy. So, I don't know what this whole thing of unwind. So see, if you keep on making up these words, then you're going towards a psychiatrist. Isn't it?
Well, okay, tell me.
And
when
then
was the last time you took a holiday?
you need a counselor to.
When was the last time you took a holiday? Did you go out of anywhere?
So my children had come to Delhi. That was a great time.
That's a holiday. When was the last time Asaduddin Owaisi took a holiday?
No, I went for
sightseeing.
No, I went for an umrah with my family during Ramzan for 5-6 days. That was great.
So that's religious in nature.
No, but you see what I believe in is that every breath you take in this world, you must thank your Almighty.
You don't watch TV at all?
No, but what is there to watch in TV you have 6 p.m. nationalists, 9 p.m. nationalists,
Who's
10
telling
p.m.
you to watch news?
But what is there to watch apart from
I'll tell you a couple of really good shows which are streaming right now.
I'm sorry, I don't want to take anyone's opinion. I'll watch what I have to watch. And see,
I agree.
the important thing is that you perform your duty as a parliamentarian.
You don't even listen to music.
I don't know. I'm not really into it. There's one point of time, many years ago, maybe my teenagers, that I don't find really interesting.
Is there a book that you read? Are you reading?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, tell me the book that you're reading right now.
For me, it's very important to read newspapers. Now you can read on your phone. Books. Yes.
So, I'll tell you how you unwind. You watch cricket. Sports.
I don't call it unwind.
Okay, I won't use the word unwind.
Why should? What is there?
So you like watching cricket?
See, for me, you see, when I pray, I get up and pray. That is where I feel really refreshed. 5 times a day you pray, and you try to connect yourself with your Maker. That is the most important thing for me. That is what is very, very important for me, that I should not miss my prayers. And then you read newspapers. You do. So, for example, I was coming to your show. There was this one of my old party workers who said, "Sir, मैं बहुत दिन से बीमार हूँ," and something happened. Immediately, we went and helped him. So that gives you satisfaction. This is good. We have done something good.
Have you never taken a holiday?
No, I don't see. Holiday, you have to work, isn't it? So
why do you have to work on a holiday?
No. So,
you go out, you look at beautiful things, you look at some historical buildings.
Of course, the world is
have a nice lunch.
In my opinion, the Creator has made this world beautiful. So you watch it.
Yeah, yeah, and you're telling me your kids really think this is very interesting because I would think then my father's very boring.
Not at all. You
No.
must come to my home and speak to them. I'll invite you, have dinner with me, and you'll be, you know,
वो
you'll.
झूठ बोल रहे हैं आपको.
No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. See, everyone is different. Of course, it's not like, oh,
You
they-
allow your kids to do all of this.
of course.
So they're allowed to go out for holidays. They're allowed to watch
of
whatever they
course,
want.
You don't know.
No, you're so private about your private
yes,
life.
I am private. They follow the Islamic way of life. They wear their hijab and burqa, but we lead normal lives. We go out, have once in a month, good place. One of my daughters decide we have to go and eat there.
So, see, that's all I'm saying. So
Yeah,
you're doing all of that.
so that is not unwind. That
Okay,
is
I will not say
that
unwind.
is see that is part of what a family does. That's a normal thing for a family.
Have you kept your personal life this private because you wanted to or they wanted to?
No, but what has my personal life got to do with
You're a
my
public figure.
Of course, I'm public figure. I'm not denying it. But why should I put it forward? Can the Prime Minister put forward his personal life? No.
And that's his choice.
Exactly.
So that's your choice.
Of course.
Is it their choice?
See, I cannot make decisions.
I'll tell you why. Because my entire research team went at length to find pictures of Asaduddin Owaisi with his family. Sir, we've only found 2.
But why do you want to see their photographs?
No, I'm just asking.
No. Why should my children's photographs should be there over there? I live with my wife, my children. My mother is alive, alhamdulillah. My brothers are there. Good. That is good enough. But why should this side of my life should be the priority? People don't vote for me on that. People vote for me whether I'm available to them or not, whether I'm responding to their need, whether I'm raising what is innermost in their mind, whether I'm helping them in times of crisis.
Is it your wife's own free choice that she's decided to take and adopt the kind of life that she is, which is taking a back seat?
No,
And not being in the
I
public
have
eye.
very bad days as a husband as well.
You are?
I have very bad days as a husband as
Which
well.
is what?
No, there are many things. Why should I?
So she does tell you.
Yeah,
off.
of course, it's normal in a married life. It's normal,
You're not normal.
No, it's not. I'm saying married life. You have,
Right.
of course, these are things, but I try to be perform my duty as much as possible as a good husband, good father, good politician. There are some good days, there are some bad days, but so be it. You keep on trying it. So nobody is perfect, including me. So that's it.
My final question, sir, and this I will ask because you've been very vocal and a votary of equality where Islam is concerned. Do you think Islam is equal where women come to being?
No, tell me which religion.
asking, it's a
no,
question.
I'll just tell you. This is the only religion which said that you have to give a share in your property, of your father's property, to your sister, to your daughter, to your wife. Till that time, the world never did. Any religion, please show me a scripture. No one did it. And in fact, people don't know much about Islam. That is why they form all these wrong opinions. Even during Prophet's time, you had women going out and working as nurses. Even during the great Caliph Umar ibn Khattab, radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he had a...
Are you pro-choice if a woman doesn't want to wear hijab
It's up to them.
or cover her head?
It's up to them.
You're pro-choice with that.
Who's
You
going to
won't-
force them in a democracy? But if someone...
But are you personally pro-choice?
No. But at the same time, when someone wears it, don't demean
Pro-choice.
them.
No,
Don't
of
demean
course
them.
not. I agree.
That's what I'm saying.
100%.
So, please remember that I cannot live up to your standards, and I don't want you to live up to my standards.
Fair point.
Right? It's your life. This is my life. But unfortunately, we have this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things that, if you do this, you're very forward-looking. You will progress in life. You're very open. You're not oppressive. How do you know? A woman wearing a hijab got a Nobel Prize
agree.
from Yemen.
Agree? 100%.
So this is it. So of
So
course
pro-choice.
Of course it's your choice. No one, you cannot impose your views on anyone.
Who are your friends in Parliament, sir?
My friends,
Huh. Do you like sit and chat with somebody?
I have
You
many
great
friends. I have many friends. I don't
Where
call.
you sit and eat lunch. Do you eat at the canteen? Because that's, we ask a lot of parliamentarians that. You enjoy something in this new
no,
parliament?
I have only so nowadays, lot of these Andhra MPs, they bring their food.
Huh. Do they
And-
share their food with you?
Yeah, of course, they tell me, Sal, just give me that curd rice. Because I try to eat as much as I can in my home. So that,
Do you like the new parliament building?
I mean, they are good and bad about it. There's a good, something you like, something you miss about the old parliament. The old parliament, I don't know what it was, that old parliament had lot of, life in it. That
Yeah.
old parliament, history as well.
History, yeah.
History, and then you felt really happy that, oh, here those great political stalwarts stood over here and made those great statements, legislations. So this new parliament is huge. It's
Got it,
good,
so it's good.
but that old charm.
Do you have a sense of humor? You crack jokes?
Why,
I'm asking. I don't know. You look so serious. So
I don't know. I cannot be a. I'm a politician. I cannot be.
okay, who's got the best sense of humor in parliament? अब कुछ तो बात करते होगे
No,
other
no,
than politics.
No, but I don't know. The last one who had a great sense of humor, unfortunately, who left politics, was Tathagat Satpathy.
Ah,
He was, I don't know, it's a great loss to our democracy. I don't know why he left, but whenever I speak to him, I tell him, boss, we miss you. You must come back. And
who else do you crack a joke with?
No, but Tathagat had that innate ability to give a serious speech, criticize the government, and then a crack a joke on the government. And it took a while for the government to understand that this man has hit us badly. That was
That's good.
Tathagat for you.
In the current lot, like you sit and have a cup of tea, coffee with anyone.
There are many good MPs.
Who do you, from the
there-
treasury benches? Tell me, who do you
No,
get
no,
along
it is
with?
wrong to name any of them. And
You
moreover,
are politically correct.
No, of course I have to be politically correct because the present political environment is such that reels will be, oh, he is very close to him. I went on a delegation, so you have made him, I'm very close to him. So, some photograph comes, I met Smriti Irani with the weavers of Bhiwandi and Malegaon. Oh, he is part of that. I went and met Giriraj Singh with
How does your conversation with Giriraj Singh?
No,
ji go?
Giriraj Singh is a
You'd say कि आपने क्या बोला था
no,
पिछले
no,
हफ्ते?
Giriraj Singh is a minister for textiles.
I know, yeah.
I took a delegation of my Malegaon MLA with the Malegaon elders. We met him. We gave him a whole representation. He sat for us for 1 hour. 1 hour. And he understood the needs of the Malegaon.
I never
power
thought
loom.
Giriraj Singh and Osaduddin Owaisi
No, he's
could
a
sit
minister.
in-
You see,
I know, I
he's a
get it,
minister.
yeah.
Who should I go and meet then?
I know. I'm just
No,
asking. that
I'm
it's
asking.
just-
It's not Asauddin or Giriraj. He's a minister.
Yeah.
I have all the right to go and tell
Of
him.
course.
So we went and met him. Then someone took out for, oh, look, he's a minister. I have to go and meet him. I have to ask him to protect the power loom industry of Malegaon. So
do
now,
you people embarrass each other by saying, but you said that
of course,
against me?
even in Parliament, when I stand up to speak, I criticize him. That doesn't stop me from
Fair
criticizing him, from disagreeing with his party's ideology.
So you have no fun with people in parliament.
No, of course, we have.
Fun is also a word like unwind.
No, but
should not be used.
No, but do you go to Parliament for fun or you
Why
perform
not?
a duty?
I go to work for working and do my duty, but I also have a little bit of fun. I jibe my producer. I sit with somebody else.
Good for you. Good for you.
You don't do it.
But you see, I don't know what you go to Parliament, you meet people,
Right.
you meet your
Acha,
honorable
tell me
MPs.
friends. Last question.
Then
3-4 friends.
There are many friends. There are many friends. There are many friends.
Naam bata do.
In what? In Parliament?
Uh-huh.
There are many friends. Why should I name them and decide
Okay.
and unnecessary other will say you didn't mention my name.
Okay.
Am I your enemy? So you see, these are all our political opponents.
Fair point.
The day someone wants to say, I will kill you, then I'll say, oh, he's my enemy. But these
Right.
are all political opponents. We don't agree with their ideology. We will oppose them. We will
Right.
continue to oppose them. So if there are many Congress leaders who are still good friends of mine, despite me opposing them, they opposing me. So when they come and tell me, I crack a joke with them, remember I'm a B team and this and so this goes on.
So that B team is a joke.
That's not a joke, but you see, you are 540 odd MPs. You're sitting in this grand, big hall. It's a massive hall.
I agree.
We don't even know which is. It takes you at least a month to realize that, oh, this is an MP, this is an MP. So it takes time.
Well, sir, I thank you for
Thank you.
joining us. I
Thank
won't say unwind, but maybe take some time out to do other things.
No,
Have fun.
I'm sorry.
Have fun.
I don't need your advice on what I do.
How
Thank
rude
you.
also. I don't need your advice. That's fine, sir.
Thank you.
But thank you for
Thank you.
joining us.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it. Thank you.